everyone. My name is Tori Pritchett, and today is May 28th, 2023. And this week, there are 22 reported cases of COVID-19 in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg County area, which shows an 18% decrease over the last 2 weeks. Therefore, each subject is comfortable not wearing a mask. And today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Miss Harriett, and she is a graduate of Johnson C. Smith University. Okay, I'm going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Harriett Ellis, a graduate of Johnson C. Smith University in 1965. My main job was as a classroom teacher in Spartanburg, South Carolina, Lynchburg, Virginia, and I retired from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system.
Okay, and so what would be considered home for you?
Charlotte is my home.
Charlotte is your home?
Born and raised off Batesford Road.
Okay, so Smith was not even a question when you decided to go to there for college?
No, because it was within walking distance of my home, and it was convenient for me.
Okay, and what kind of influenced you to become a teacher?
My parents. My parents were avid readers, and we had a special time that we, as a family, my two brothers and my parents, would sit and read. My brother, I'm the oldest of three, and I retired from Charlotte Meck. My brother also was a principal in Charlotte Mecklenburg schools. He graduated from UNCC Charlotte and got his doctorate.
Okay.
My other brother works at Wells Fargo in a managerial position.
Gotcha. And with you being an educator, what do you think about how the pandemic was? What do you think when it comes to how the educators had to change, switching from online, not online, switching from traditional teaching to teaching online? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I saw it as a good thing because education continued with the students. I do feel, however, that not enough emphasis was put on the home life, the children being dedicated to following the lessons. Therefore, the test scores were not as good as they could have been or should have been. I realized that a lot of children need that immediate attention in a classroom. And maybe we'll get back to being successful at the end of the year, raising the test scores. I was very disappointed at the number of schools that received a failing grade at the end of the school year.
Was it a lot of schools?
There were 65 or so schools that got an F rating, and that's not acceptable.
Mm-hmm. What are the normal rates?
I guess ABC.
Okay. Gotcha. And you said more than 65, that's a lot.
Yeah, there were 65 schools that got an F rating, and I was very disappointed because we could do better. Our education should be valued.
Yes.
And without it, we can't function
I agree.
properly.
I agree. Okay, so kind of changing lanes here. After you retired from Mecklenburg County, the school system, what was next for you?
Well, I originally thought that I would do a lot of traveling and all of the things that I missed while I was in the workforce. And I did do that for a while, but I became bored. And my pocketbook was empty. So I had to find something to do. that's why I'm in security now. I like the idea of having something to look forward to every day. I enjoy getting up and not just going to the door and opening the door, because after I got bored of staying at home, I would just open the door first thing in the morning and watch the school buses going up and down the street. And I wanted to be a part of that again. But then, for some reason, I decided to change gears, and I became a security guard.
Okay.
And I really like it.
That's amazing. Now, were you a security guard during the pandemic? Is that a job that
I
you
was.
had during the start of it? Now, how was that for you as far as, the restrictions and things like that? How did you feel, or what changed?
Well, and in the beginning, everything was up in the air. We really didn't know whether this was actually a real thing. There was a lot of skepticism, questioning, and at one point I was afraid of people sneezing around me or coughing, and not covering their mouths and everything. But we got through it. I was afraid. I was really petrified at one time, because I have a medical condition. I have a heart problem. And then when they were saying that people with heart problems could be really hurt by this.
Yes, a high risk, right?
Yes. And when I got COVID, I prayed because I was scared. I couldn't, having shortness of breath is one thing for me in the beginning. And when it all started, I was on my way to work one morning, and I had to pull over. And by the grace of God, 2 young black men stopped and asked, "Are you okay, Ma?" And I wasn't. And they asked me where I lived, and I was able to tell them where I lived. So one person followed me. The young fella got in the car with me and drove my car to my house, and the other fella drove his car to take him back to pick his car up. He left his car.
Oh my goodness.
And they put me on my front porch and say, "See a doctor." And I was out for 10 days. But by the grace of God, my situation wasn't as severe.
Okay.
All I had to do was just follow what the doctor said, and I recovered.
And at 10 days, that's amazing too.
I was weak. I couldn't breathe, and it just started gradually with me. I didn't know what to do. But I was there. My dog took care of me.
That's what I was going to say. Did you have any family come and check on you, or during that time, how was it?
My brothers came to check on me. They had masks and everything. We took precautions, and it worked out.
Okay. And also, as far as the communication during that time, I know, did you communicate with your family via phone call? Was it, did they visit often?
No, they didn't come that often.
Okay.
But my sister-in-law, I have a wonderful sister-in-law. She cooked. My brother brought the food, and they would just hand it through the door.
Okay.
I was able to go through the door and go to the door and pick it up. They made sure I had enough food and the essentials.
Okay.
And they talk to me regularly on the phone because I'm alone. So both my brothers made sure. I'm very proud of the fact that they really were concerned, and they took care of me during those 10 days that I was, isolated.
Yes.
And I don't like being isolated.
Oh, I'm sure it's terrible. Now, I heard you speaking of your dog, and saying that, your dog was also a support as well as your brothers and sister-in-law. So, how is that for you, I'd say?
Casper is a yellow lab.
Okay.
And he and I are very close. And he was right with me in his own way, I felt that he knew something was wrong.
And that's what I was going to ask.
But he was with me every step of the way. And when I moved, he moved.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Now, during that time, did your routine change at all? I don't know. Do you take your dog on? Do you take Casper on walks?
I didn't take him for a walk. I just simply opened the back door and let him go out. But as I've said, he knew something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And we were together, all day for those 10 days that I was incapacitated somewhat. And I really appreciate that. There's a bond there between the two of us.
Yes. Mm-hmm. An unbreakable bond, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so during that time, I know that routine, what routines changed for you from the start of COVID? What changed for you? Can you think of anything?
Nothing actually changed other than I didn't go to work for 10 days.
Okay.
But after that, I continued working every day. And one by one, my coworkers, had to stay out because they got it. It was so strange because one day the person would act as if nothing was wrong, and the next day they were out sick, And it was topsy-turvy as to how long you stayed out and what the symptoms were. Because as I mentioned before, I've always had shortness of breath because of my heart condition. And it was severe for a day or two. And that is a frightening feeling to not be able to breathe. And that was the main thing and I had a fever. That was the main thing that frightened me because I'm by myself and I just didn't know what the outcome was going to be.
Okay. Now, did you develop any new habits during that time, especially, going through that, having COVID and things like that? Was there any habits that
when I felt better, I like to read. So I did a lot of reading and sleeping.
Yes. You got a lot of sleep during that time?
I did. I was well rested when I went back to work.
All right. I could only imagine. What books were you interested in, or are you interested in?
Well, I like all genres, but I mostly read westerns and some romance novels. And I went back to my Harry Potter books, and I revisited those books and the magazines and everything. It was really nice.
Okay. Now, I do want to shift back and think back at the beginning. We did a hand map activity to kind of get you reflecting and thinking. So I'd love to talk about some of the journeys that you have listed on there. If you could reflect for me on those.
Well, as our faith is one thing, I was so afraid that I wasn't going to survive. I prayed a lot. And in just observing how caring my family was, I in turn have been more sympathetic now toward people who are ill. Because it really opened something up for me to see how when I thought that they really didn't care, they actually did. And they made sure that I had everything that I needed. And I really did appreciate, and I do appreciate the fact that they made sure that I was all right every day.
Yes.
So I appreciate my baby Casper. I appreciate my two brothers, my sister-in-law, and a couple of my friends who checked on me.
And that was a strong support system for you.
It was.
Okay. And what are some good things that you've learned through your experience during the pandemic?
Well, Everything was good for me. As I see it, the bond that I had with my family. If I needed anything, they were only a telephone call away.
Okay.
That's probably from all the blowing. Blowing my nose and all this stuff, because all of it is coming out my nose.
When you think about COVID-19, what comes to mind? What feeling comes to mind? When you
Fear?
Fear.
Yes, because I want to stay here a little while longer. And I didn't have any problems getting my injections. In fact, I'm overdue for another one. So I was thinking about that the other day. Hey.
All right. Okay, and is there any additional stories that you would like to tell me, Miss Harriett?
No, not that I can think of, but that was an experience in itself, to be sick like that and to not know whether or not you were going to come out of it. And by the grace of God, I did.
Yes, you're here today.
Yes, I am, and I'm very grateful.
All right, and is there, I always like to have my participants give some advice to anyone that may be going through a pandemic years later or years from now. What's some advice that you would leave for them?
If they say take a shot, get it. I believe that the injections will help you, and I don't have any qualms about taking them.
Okay, well, the Living Archives team definitely appreciates you for taking the time to for allowing me to interview you today.
Well, you're so nice, and I really appreciate talking to you.
Thank you, Miss Harriett.